Venus in Leo is going to be having us really look at all of the ways that we are being passionate, we are being loving. It's having us look at showing up, expressing our heart's desire, being that strong force of just love and radiance. So in this episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, I'm going to be discussing how Venus in Leo will impact all 12 zodiac signs, Aries through Pisces. And you want to check out what your moon and rising sign is, including your sun sign, which all of you should know your sun sign. You want to find that information out through astro.com in order to be able to tell which... wait a second. No. I want to rephrase that. Being able to get a deeper, more holistic understanding on how it will impact all three. But of course, you don't have to listen to all three. I recommend not only just listening to your rising sign and for your sun sign, but they really all apply to all the signs, really, and, any kind of thing that you want to do in that regard. Being very good for you in your sense of self, in your sense of love and play, which impacts you specifically, but really everyone in general. So, reverse that. So today I'm going to be discussing how Venus in Leo is going to impact all 12 signs. So you want to watch for those signs. Timestamps will be in this video, maybe, most likely, but anyway, there may be a chance that they won't be. But they will always certainly be in the description box below. So now delving into Aries. The question that I want to ask Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising is, don't you want all that effort, all that hard work, all the things that you put out in your life, all the things that you do, all the things that you want to act upon, all that you want to achieve in your life, do you want that to be just, you are the only one that's aware of it, Aries? Because you are so focused on yourself, you're so into yourself, that you know your own goals and your own, tasks and what you do on a day-to-day basis and your own ideas and how you implement them and how you make them reality in your own life. But wouldn't it be great if you could share those things and others could know about it? A food truck is not a food truck if it weren't for its customers. A performance isn't a performance if it weren't for the audience. The audience has to come in to see the performance, to cheer, to give the applause, to give the recognition, to give the whole purpose of why you are performing in the first place. So this is time performing for others to really recognize, what you do, and to really celebrate what you do, Aries. What you celebrate, what you do in terms of, your efforts, in terms of all those efforts that you want to put forth out into the world. So what are all those efforts? The job that you want to start, the weight center that you want to go to. My Mars is in Gemini, so your Mars sign really impacts, if it's Mars in Pisces, then as a spiritual quest. But if it's, Mars in Gemini, it could be the videos that you want to write or the blog that you want to write, and you're assertively communicating your, own ideas and all that. So how do you want others to see that? It's like opening up for others to see it. Opening up for others to recognize and acknowledge what you have to bring to the table. Opening up for others to see your true gifts shine, because Venus in Leo is about shining, letting out your fire, being in the center spotlight. So this is your invitation, Aries, to put out these gifts to the world and to let others know about them openly, honestly, transparently, and for others to see the beauty that you have to bring in your own contribution that you have to bring in the world by truly, being who you are. So what creative vision do you have, Aries? Because Aries is so creative. Aries is a very creative, dynamic energy. It has a lot of ideas, a lot of visions, a lot of motors in its mind for its machine to sort of work, because Aries is sort of like, it wants to run like a well-functioning machine. It wants to, it's like a machine has to have the energy and fuel, and Aries has the drive, wants to have the fuel, wants to have the motivation. So that's why Mars retrogrades can be very, very challenging times for Aries, because they force us to slow down and reflect. But we're not there yet. Aries, be prepared for your horoscope for Mars retrograde. I need to be prepared, because it'll be not until 2027. But just know that this is the time where you can charge forwards. So let's not worry about 2027 and the stuff that goes on the astrology then. I'll discuss that more in depth when we get there. But let's focus on right here and right now with what is going on. So, what are those, creative visions you have for something really, really special, for something really, really, magical in your life? And it's time to bring this to reality, because, we have Venus trine Neptune in the fire signs. And Venus trine Neptune in the fire signs is like, how can we bring it to reality? How can we bring it into form? I want to bring it back down to what is usually going on. And so it's really, really time to bring all these things into present focus, into present reality. And really, really make those things shine out into the world, and do all of that in very, very huge ways. And so that's really your sort of strong suit of how you can shine in that way. It's time to, to have those grand ideas, and you have those grand visions, and then make them reality. Make them reality for yourself. Make them real. Make them tangible. And then the final thing is, whom are you trying to please? Who are you trying to please in your life, Aries? I mean, really. Who are you trying to please by, holding on to, holding in your fire and seeking their approval? Where you're holding in your own energy and your own, ambition and your own love and openness and connection. And, and instead, you are, instead you are seeking their approval. You're instead seeking the external validation, the external approval. Kind of like I just opened my phone and made sure that this was recording. Like, I wanted to check if this recording, and so I, in future, will trust that if I press the button and see it record, then it's recording. There's no other way around it. So, because I've seen, like, okay, it works this time. So that's sort of my own challenge and my own little anecdote doing this video, saying this. But, who are you trying to please in your life? Like, who is that person that you're just trying to win over, and you can't quite win them over? You can't quite win the lottery in their eyes. You can't quite win the Grammy award-winning, response and validation from them. Where do you need to separate yourself from them and give yourself the permission, give yourself the validation, and stop trying to seek the approval of others who who will not give you approval? Because there will be some in the world who will not give you that approval. And you may be with notice where in your life the people that you're with are not giving you that approval, and reframe the narrative. Say, I give myself approval and I don't need their validation. And so we can love ourselves and give ourselves permission that we can do this, that we are right, that, all these things. We can really, really thrive in that kind of a way. Now, moving on to Taurus. Now, Taurus is a very, very grounded, rooted sign. It is very, very connected to the earth, to the structures of the ground and the atmosphere, and, well, not the atmosphere, really the earth, in general. And so, Taurus, being very, very grounded in the heart, can be easier for them at the time to actually ground into their hearts. To actually, and Chiron's going to be entering your sign this month, Taurus. So you're being invited to step into, stillness in this kind of a way. So the real question that I have is, can you really, really be grounded in your heart-centered space? Can you be grounded in this kind of a space where you're opening up to the love of others? You're opening up to what others have to give you. Well, you're grounded. Your heart is open. You want to, give, and you want to, receive, and all of those kind of things. So, it's really, really about being open, being loving, being open, having a beacon of just love pouring out from you. And that is really what it takes. So, can you show open-heartedness? Taurus is a sign that, like the baby, the infant that says, I love you, or I love you. So cute. But Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love. And so how can you show more open-heartedness in that love? How can you open up your heart to others and show love and openness and open-heartedness towards others in that kind of way? And how can you be willing to put yourself out there? Because Taurus is a sign that is, Taurus and Leo square each other in astrology. So Taurus wants to be very, very private and keep things very, very small, batten down, very, very simple, very, very quiet, and almost in the shadows, but not really, very, 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 very small. It sort of lives small and it can limit itself. But where is that need for privacy and simplicity keeping you from shining your light, Taurus? How is this keeping you from, shining your light where you're dimming your light because of this need for small, simplicity of what you're doing? Where is this kind of thing going on? Where is this kind of dynamic where you're holding in your precious energy, and your talents and your gifts because of the need to keep it small, because of the need for absolute simplicity? Where can you be like, I value myself, and the ones who value me will come to me and show me how much I value myself, show me how much they value me, and those are the ones who see my own personal worth. So for Taurus, the conversation is around worth, personal worth, self-worth. And so how can you not dim this need for, for simplicity by knowing your worth and being like, I want to shine, I want to put myself out there. And, what can you do to show someone that you truly value them? Okay, so others are valuing you. How can you reciprocate that and show others that you value them? Because it's a two-way street. Like relationships are 50-50. They are a two-way street. They value you, and then you value them very, very effectively. So what can you do to show someone that you care about them, that you love them, that you see their value, that you see their worth, all that kind of thing? Like giving someone a nice hug, or making a nice meal for them, or taking them out somewhere very, very nice, if you want to, if you ever so desire. If you should ever want to do something nice for them, or whatever your love language is, showing someone that you really value them, that you truly value them, that you truly care about them, is really, really huge for you, Taurus. Now, Gemini. It's very, very important, Gemini, to be open to spontaneity, be open to newness, because this transit wants the newness of whatever you have to give to the table, whatever you have to bring to table here. And so, this is a transit that's very, very big on spontaneity. Very, very big on being spontaneous, doing things without needing a structure, without needing a schedule, without needing limitations and a plan to sort of hold you back and lock you into a certain way of doing it in a certain timetable and a certain whatever. So, it's about getting really, really, what are you intellectually attracted to? Leo is definitely romantic. It's definitely attracted to the love lighting. Gemini is a intellectual sign. So, like, for me, oh my goodness, certain men, like American men that speak in certain ways, that sing in certain ways, I just find that so attractive. And certain people, one person that I know in my life right now is very, very intellectually attractive to me because of his idea with going very, very deep, having deep conversations, and being an authentic individual just like me. And I find that we are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 years apart from each other, almost. And, we were born 8 years apart from each other. He was born 8 years before I am, and so, before I was born. And it's a very, very intellectually attractive sort of game and sort of way of going about the world in that kind of way. So, where can this be sort of in the maker shiftings, Gemini? Where you can be attracted to the books that are written very, very well, like books that are written really, really well, and speaking really, really well. Speaking in very, very good ways, very, very, nice, solid ways where it helps to communicate, it helps to share your ideas, it helps to do all this stuff really, really easily and exchange ideas. And you find that a nice bond. And then what inspirations do you have when it comes to the ideas you truly want to act upon? What really, really wakes you up in the morning, Gemini? What inspires you to just act and go about and learn and read and study and interact with people and do all that stuff? Because that's who you are. You're very, very multitasking. You're very, very adaptable. And so, which inspirations do you have? Like, what is the inspiration? What is the driving force? What is the motivation for you to actually get out into the world and act on what you really, really want to act upon? What drives you, and what do you want to do and act upon in your life? Is very, very important for Geminis at this time. From July 13th through June 13th through July 9th. Okay, moving on to Cancer. Now, Cancer is a sign that's very, very caring, but it's also deeply sensitive. And any little chaos that's going on in its family life, any little chaos, any little rift of disharmony could really, really throw Cancer off course. It could steer Cancer off course from feeling peace, from feeling nourished, because that deeply affects Cancer on an emotional level. When there's a problem or disharmony in the family, Cancers want to keep the peace in the family life, in the family setting. So you may have more intense power struggles, in love at this time, especially with the opposition to Pluto that I discussed in that collective video. If you want to check that out for Venus and Leo. And so, you may have, more, you may have these kind of battles where you're, fighting for control, because Cancer wants control over the home life, over its family, wants to be in control of, what they do and what all those kind of things like that. But understanding the difference between mothering and smothering can be very, very important. And how can you show up in an inside-out way? This is a really, really big question for Cancer that I want Cancers to sit with, because Cancer can be pretty moody. And when there's some disruption and some disharmony in the home, that can really, really affect them and make them very, very irritable and make them really, really unhappy and frustrated and moody. So they need to meditate. They need to consider really taking care of themselves and giving themselves peace and calm and stability to be able to then come at conflict in relationship from an inside out kind of way. From an inside out way, where you are, where you are, being very, very calm, in your approach and in your delivery, Cancer. So it can come down to that with living from the inside out. And living from the inside out is not reactive, it's not aggressive, it's not too emotional, it's not too over the top when it comes to very, very emotional, immature emotional display, because it's sort of a lower of Cancer. It's like the moody, emotionally immature qualities. But but really when it comes down to is being so calm and being sovereign and being strong within yourself, to be able to come at it from a loving, calm, caring place with you have felt your feelings, you're seeing the person for who they are, you're feeling your certain ways, but you're choosing to respond rather than react. You're choosing to love them and show that you care about them in an inside-out way. You're living from the inside out. You are opening yourself up in that kind of way to really, really bond really, really nicely with them. And being very, very strong and loving. Strong, loving but strong. Strong but loving. To be able to be calm in all of this. So that's the first point that I want to make. Now moving on to the second point. What items in your home do you truly value, Cancer? Is it the desk? Is it the chair? Is it the set? Is it the cat? Is it the wine? Is it the couch? Is it the whatever you truly value? Ask yourself, is that thing made of good solid material? Is that thing made of good material? Is that thing sustainable for the long term? Is that thing very, very good? In that sense, of the word. And what's coming to mind now is like when I do my videos, I'll allow myself to talk about the transits for the planets if I want to, but I don't have to. It may be inconsistent with the different ones, but that's, it's anything goes on this channel. Anything goes. So don't restrict yourself and don't set yourself with these certain rules, to yourself that limit yourself. So just had to sort of process that here. But, what items in your home do you truly value? Because Venus is going to oppose Saturn, trine Saturn on the 25th of June. So, what items in your home do you value? That are long-lasting items, that are very, very good quality items to you. And so those things are really, really huge for you at this time. So, what do you know is, long-lasting? That's really, really the question for you. Okay, so I'm having a moment here because I'm thinking of another video that I want to do, another type of video that I want to do, and I'm doing this. So anyway, Cancer, back to the ranch. Looking at how, is that thing sturdy? Is that thing made of good material? Can that thing last or can that thing not? And moving on my final point. How can you show that, that you love others, by being big-hearted. How can you show, your true gift and care, for others, Cancer? Because Cancer is a very, very loving, nurturing sign, coming up here in this mix, where, opening your heart. Cancer is very, very loving, very, very heart-centered, very, very heartfelt. So can you show others that you love them through being open-hearted, being big-hearted? What can you do? Can you, prepare a nice meal, or can you, spend emotional quality time with them? Can you play a game with them in the home? Can you take a walk with them? Can you, do something nice for them? But the most important thing is that you build a bond, that you build a connection. Like, don't just, like there's this dominant film that I was seeing where the father just was just so worried about just working in a job, and thinking that if I just have enough money to get my son all these things, that he'll be happy. No, he wasn't happy. The emotional connection was not there. So it's about the emotional bond. Like, are you bonding emotionally enough with your family? And Cancer, you can kind of feel at times like your family is your lifeline. So this isn't to say that you just have to ignore your family, because this is not saying that at all. This is saying, opening up to family and showing big-hearted energy towards it. Now, Leo, speaking of big-hearted energy, let's move on to Leo now. Leo has this quality to it of needing validation from the outside. It needs validation, needs others to acknowledge how pretty they are, how well Leos look, how smart they are, how radiant they are, how strong they are, how beautiful they are, how talented they are with whatever they're doing in life, with whatever it is. You name the possibilities. So there's this internal need, egoic need for the validation from others, for them to acknowledge how special you are. Otherwise, you don't feel loved and validated. You don't feel good and secure within yourself. That you feel strong within yourself, and that you feel good about yourself. You need others to help you feel good about yourself. So it is really, really about being with the ones that you care about, being with the ones that see you for who you are, that validate you, generally, and in general, with all that kind of thing like that. Being with the ones who validate you for who you are, so that you can learn to, validate yourself. Because we all need each other. And use others validating you as a little bit of a message from the universe saying, okay, this is a sign that they're validating me, so I don't need them for validation. I can actually validate myself. Thank you for that sign, universe. Thank you for giving me that acknowledgement. Now I will validate myself. Now I will give myself the love and the attention and the praise that I need, and the permission that I need for myself. And then, how have you been dimming your light, Leo? How have you been holding yourself back? Being quiet, being small, playing it small. Where have you been playing it small, Leo? And being shy, like, oh my goodness, I really, really do not like this about Leos, how shy they are. Like, no. How can you, where in your life, and what, be it your 6th house or your 12th house or your 10th house or whatever area of your life based off of the different houses in astrology. And if it helps to look at the house this falls in, then oh, so be it, whatever floats your boat, but I'm not here to give you that. But if it should be beneficial toward you in your own life, look at the life areas. Like, this is a general reading, because I don't know your life circumstances. I don't know what areas of life are active right now. So what areas of life you're engaging in. So I don't know that. I can't make that assumptions. And I think that astrologers show this arrogance with being able to just tell them, oh, in this area of life you're going to experience this, or oh, in this area of life, that is just very, very black and white thinking, and assuming that they know things about other people that they do not, and I just disapprove of that completely. So, but this is general, and whatever, and it's so funny that I'm seeing 2 children outside my window right now, and Leo is representative of the child. So it's just so funny, because children love play, and I'm seeing one with a scooter, and one just with a dress on, and one with a bike, just riding right across my window. So, right across my windows, I'm doing this, so, alright. So, how... it's like, in what area of your life are you playing it small and dimming your own personal brilliance and light? Where can you, shine and, open up and there's another one. And, and share your gifts. Sharing your gifts out to the world very, very strongly with what you have to give, with all those kind of things like that. So, shining in the spotlight is that. I don't want to go any further into that. And then also, showing how much passion that you have for those you love. Really, really showing others how much you value them, how much passion you truly have for those that you love, for those whom you love. So, how much passion do you truly have for those people in your life that you really, really care about, and that you really, really love deeply? And how can you show that? And be with others who will appreciate all those efforts. Be with others who are appreciative of all those qualities. So it's about showing the passion and the love that you have by taking action and being willing. Being willing, taking that risk and that step to show someone how much you care about them. A smile, saying something nice to someone, getting them a gift, maybe, giving them a surprise, throwing them a party, maybe. Leo is of that nature. And it can also be just doing something nice for them. Doing something that shows that you care about them in that kind of way. Now, Virgo. Excuse me. Okay, Virgo. So look at the people in your life. Just take a look right now at the people in your life. Are they minding their own business? Are they taking care of their own business? Are they cleaning up their own side of the street and taking care of their little details and their little, quilting and making themselves very, very neat and being very, very organized and being sort of the jack, being sort of the one who takes care of themselves, their mental and their physical health, both and here, and their, emotional well-being, being with those who take care of themselves and you're taking care of yourself and they're taking care of themselves and they're also taking care of you. Like, it's a both way street. You take care of yourself and, take care of the other, that comes from taking care of yourself. So are you doing that, and is the other partner doing that? Are both of you doing that in the relationship? That's what I seriously want to ask you, Virgo. And are they the perfect partner for you? There's this saying that I use for Venus and Virgo, actually. Be perfect in the partner you choose. And Venus is in Leo. And Venus will move into your sign in July. I may discuss that, I may not, with all the aspects to the outer planets that are making to each other that I'll be discussing. There's a lot to discuss in July, so I may not talk about Venus and Virgo, but who knows. There'll be a lot of 12 sign videos coming up in July, just forewarned. There'll be a lot of these kind of videos next month, because there's a heck of a lot happening next month. It is going to be a wild historical month. Astrologers have been thinking of it for a while. Astrologers have been looking at July 2026 as a revolutionary and incredible month, and I'll be here to discuss all this transits as we sort of, at every step of the way as we move through that time. But are they the perfect partner to you? Are they really, showing how, that they are perfect because they have taken care of themselves, because they've taken care of their side of the street, because they've done their business, because they've taken care of their business. If they're not neat, if they're not tidy, if they're not organized and taking care of themselves, then what kind of a partner are they if they don't have their, stuff together and they're not taking care of themselves? And how do you expect them to take care of you if they don't take care of themselves? Because how you take care of yourself and the details that you attend to with that says a whole lot about you. And Virgo says it's the little details that make up the identity, the whole of who you are. Like the little details make up the whole. So, and instead of improving the partner, first of all, the first step here is to be with partners that take care of themselves. And then with that partner, obviously, if you choose a partner and you're married to one and you're in a relationship with one, then hopefully they would be very, very responsible for their own lives. And so, instead of, improving this partner, instead of always trying to, make them better or fix their flaws or judge their flaws or comment on their flaws, how can you enjoy the affectionate and lovely moments as opposed to it being like a work type relationship, a very, very business, sixth house oriented relationship with health, work, daily routines, because that's the areas of life that the sixth house rules. So, enjoying the affectionate and lovely moments with them can really, really be huge. Enjoying those times you can just get together with like think of, it's the summertime, so great idea to throw, Virgo, having a picnic in the park, somewhere out by a lake or somewhere, bringing sandwiches and bringing all these things and laying out a picnic blanket and just sharing time with loved ones. Maybe you are the female and resting on the male's lap, and then the male is giving you nourishment. So, it's like these are the affectionate moments that are so precious and valuable in relationships. And we need to really, really make the most of these kind of things. And how we can do that is really, really, stop improving and stop taking the partnership so seriously and enjoying those affectionate times in a relationship. Like, those are very, very valuable. And are you allowing yourself, are you allowed to love yourself in your relationships? Are you personally allowed and given the permission to love yourself fully in those relationships? Or are you being stifled by the other person? Is the other person holding you back emotionally, creatively, holding you back from loving who you are very, very deeply in terms of what that relationship has to give? So, is that person helping you to love yourself in the relationship really, really strongly? That's the question that you can really, ask yourself, with that. And then moving on to Libra now. So Libra. Okay. So there's a song that I want to sing you. Even with the Libra charm. Point being, even with it, Go for it, even with it. So, you are so charming, Libra. You are so loving, so caring, so beautiful. So beautiful. You just have a beautiful energy of like, oh, I want to harmonize, and I want beauty, and I want harmony, and all this. And it doesn't have to be a fake thing at this time. Like, Leo is 2 signs apart from you. So now you're being invited to lean into all the best of what you have to give, to use your loving and charming qualities to love others openly, generously, to love others, for who they really are, and to, because Libra's very, very charming, and it is charmed and attracted by others, and it just has a sort of, I noticed this within myself, like a gratitude and an abundance and a luck and an open-minded quality to it, when it comes to being loving to others, and it can see both sides. Like, Libra can see both sides of the coin. It can see all the negatives over here and all the positives, over there, and whatever. It can see all those different sides. It lives from a place of gratitude and openness, and that's really, really a high word to live. That's sort of an insight that I have to give you from my life as somebody who has a Libra moon. So, which quality items do you really, really value, Libra? What are those items that really, really stand out to you that you're like, I like that so much. I like that item so much. I just think that this is the most beautiful thing. And, what is truly beautiful to you, Libra? What really is very, very beautiful to you in your own authenticity, in your own beauty, in your own, what you have to give. So, what is, what do you find, what in your life, what, around your house, or, in your backyard, or wherever, what is that quality object that you have bought with your money that was like, wow, that is so valuable to me, I'm never going to let that go. That is so valuable to me that I just want to hold on to that. And that is so valuable to me that this is a prized possession. This is a precious possession. So, really, really milking the materialistic value of those things, of those precious things, because Leo is a very, very materialistic sign, and Venus is in Leo. So, during this transit. So, what is truly beautiful to you, Libra? What do you find really, really attractive, really, really beautiful? Finally, are you getting, is the other partner giving you enough validation? Giving you positive validation so that you can validate yourself? Like, Libra just so, caught him with the other things and bases his whole identity off the other in relationships, which is not healthy. But external validation can actually help with self-validation, so that you get the external validation so that you can, in fact, give yourself permission, give yourself the love, give yourself the, acknowledgement of how special, how radiant, how beautiful you truly are. So, are you getting the validation and the praise from the other partner? Or are they shaming you? Are they judging you? Are they getting on you for every little thing that you did wrong, and how wrong and flawed you truly are? So that's worth considering, is not succumbing to that and all the things associated with it. But having them not judge you, so much, but evaluating, are they judging you? Are they judging you? And is it right for them to judge you? Like, do you feel like it's truly right for them to judgment? Are these judgments that they're saying true, or are they just not very true? So that's really something that you can think about, and like not being with partners who just judge you and beat you up over a little thing. So be discerning, use your discernment. Do not spend your time and energy with those partners that if they are and you're in the relationship, like it's a committed relationship, then talk to them about your issues. And if they don't get it, you may want to reconsider the relationship that you're in. So, Scorpio. Now, Scorpio has this tendency to cave into a little shell. Cave into a little shell of what it is doing into where it's going, the life area that it's in. So wherever this is an area where you are where you're going into yourself, where you're just caving in, because Scorpio caves in. It likes to keep things private. It likes to keep things secret. But this is not the time for that, Scorpio. Like, the collective and everyone is invited to open themselves up to use their charisma to gain others' affection, to use their, their charm or their zest for life to gain the affection of others. And so how can you use this, like I knew as Scorpio, an English teacher I had in high school who was just so passionate and so charismatic, loved to talk, had a big personality. Like, does he have a lot of Leo and Sag in his chart? Nope. He was a Scorpio's sun. He wasn't either a Leo or a Sag, Sagittarius. So, but he used his charm and his charisma to get everyone coming toward him. And I will always remember him for who he was and who he is and continues to be. And so, how can you, use this charm that you have, this magnetic pull, like others are drawn to, others are magnetically pulled to, like how can you use this to, get others' affection? And how can you show how devoted you are to your, to your partners, showing, true devotion, Scorpio. Showing, true devotion, to, these partners by showing passion towards them, by being passionate towards them, by showing how passionate you can truly be, towards the partners, by doing things for them that show that, okay, you're passionate about them. And Scorpio, when it's in relationships, is all in. It goes all in. It goes full on in that relationship. So how can you show that you have that real zest and have that real intensity in you that you want to show in terms of that relationship? Then how can your passion projects be celebrated? Because Scorpio has passions and it will go to the ends of the earth to achieve those passions. It has all these passions because it's so obsessed with these things, so obsessed with it. At best, get out of other people. Stop worrying about other people. Stop obsessing over others and focus on your own passions. So that's the high road of Scorpio. It's not worrying about other people's business, but focusing on your own business, your own stuff, your own passions. So what are your own passions that can be celebrated, that can be acknowledged by the world, and putting in the efforts to acknowledge that? Because I think that will give you a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment for you to put that out there and receive that attention back from that. So Sagittarius, where can you, abandon others in healthy ways? Like, first of all, get out of the relationships that hold you back, that hinder you from your personal freedom, your personal expansion principles, so that you don't limit your freedom. Not being with those who limit your own sense of freedom about yourself. Like which individuals fence you in and keep you from being free? do not give into and do not live on the backs of those individuals. You were meant to, like, I'm a Sagittarius rising, and I'm meant to be soul-centered. I'm meant to be very, very fiery and, dynamic and independent, and test the boundaries of what I can say and what I can do. And so, who is limiting that freedom? Who is limiting that, the personal, gift that you have for freedom? And, but that being said, being with those who do give you the freedom, who do give you the sort of the green light to be free and liberated, where can you share a loving moment with others on your travel? Like, hey, partner, I'm traveling over here. Hey, join me over here. This doesn't have to be just physical travel. Okay, so don't just put this in a box. Don't just think this is stereotypical, because a lot of us don't have the means to travel. Most of us, I'd say most of us don't have the means to travel, if I'm correct about that. This doesn't have to be just physical travel. This can be being with those who the connections feel exciting. You can grow through these connections. You can exchange a lot of fun, a lot of joy, a lot of openness from these connections, and they feel freeing. So choosing to spend your time with those connections, those people who lift you up in that kind of way, is really, really important. And then, seeking novelty, seeking out novelty when it comes to where things have gotten dull and boring. Because Sagittarius is a carne sign. It's a very, very loud fire sign, which wants freedom and adventure and fun and play, and doesn't want to take life so seriously. So wherever you feel like, oh, this is just so boring and this is so flat, and I need to do something to change this up, and I need to do something to make this better and more exciting, like, you have the opportunity now. It's like your permission slip, your get out of jail free card to spice things up. To bring a little bit of spice, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of coriander, a little bit of ground turmeric, a little bit of heat, a little bit of hot pepper. What can you add a little bit more flavor to that food? Whereas that food, like, you're eating a dish and it's really, really bland, and you don't have a whole lot of flavor and texture and all to it. But then you add some spice to it. It's like, that tastes way better. That tastes way better. That tastes more flavorful. So where can you add more spice to this food, or whatever in your life, like your life situation, or your work situation, or your home situation? I mean, whatever area of life, that applies to you in your own individual life based off of your own specific chart. In what area of your life can you spice things up? Alright, so Capricorn, moving on to this cardinal earth sign of the zodiac. Alright, Capricorn. So I've spoken a lot with you in previous videos about how ambitious Capricorn is and how hardworking Capricorn is. And this transit is screaming to Capricorn, actually, to not take life so darn seriously, to have more play, to have more fun in your life, to have more joy come into your life, and engage with that joy. Engage with that, in that joy, and to not, to do something fun, like get away from the work and all the work that you're doing, and instead choose to play. Watch a nice movie, or play a game with your children, or do something fun. Like, stop taking life so seriously and all that stuff, because Capricorn's very, very work-oriented sign, and instead prioritize fun and play. Prioritize fun and play, so that you can not look back in your later years going, wow, I wasted myself away working and slaving away and not having fun. What was that all about? So where can you have fun? Like Venus and Leo asked you to get fun, maybe, working as a means of performance. I'm sitting in front of an audience, like putting my, in the typewriter in and doing the, I don't know. But just in general, finding fun, in your, in your life and bringing that in. And then making sure that you're acting from your heart, and not just logic, not just pragmatism, but acting from your heart. Really acting from that heart-centered place, from that truth-centered place inside of you, and putting your efforts out there. Putting your efforts out into the world so that others can see all that you've done, all that you've accomplished, all your whole contribution to the world is out there for the whole world to see. So, how can you act from your heart? How can you live from that heart-centered space and not be afraid to shine, not be afraid to put your heart out there? Like with whatever you're doing, do it in a heart-centered way. And if it doesn't align with your heart, then I would put that on the back burner during this time when Venus is in Leo. And there may be power struggles that may come about. Power struggles. And these power struggles, come into relationships, come into being in your relationships because Capricorn's cardinal. It needs to be in control of every detail of everyone's lives. It needs to know that it's in control. It needs to have some authority. It needs to have some, and it doesn't feel secure when it's not in control. Like there's this strong need to be in control. And so, this need for control, for domination, for fighting for control. This is my house and these are my rules. Like the parents. Oh my goodness, how they can be so controlling. If you're living under this house, then you must follow these rules and all this. Okay, Capricorn, notice where you're where you're doing that, and be aware that that is controlling, and that is authoritarian, and that is authoritative, and that is domineering, and that is you in your ego wanting control and hindering others and making them feel boxed in and not free and not open and not loved and cared for. And where do you need to be more, equal? Where in relationships are you not as different or better than others? Where does that equality piece need to be brought into being with being able to put in the same amount into relationships as the others are? And with equality, you can find peace. So create more equality between what you do and what others do. Creating more quality, more balance, more harmony. So that you don't run into conflict, so that you don't become overly controlling, because you're taking on more of the responsibilities. And when you do that, this need I need to be in control. So it's a good opportunity for Capricorn to just loosen up the reins a little bit and let go of the control, that need. So moving on to Aquarius. I know it's hard, Capricorn, but still, it would be for your highest good if you were to consider that. So moving on to Aquarius now. 2 signs and then we are done. We are in the home stretch of this video now. So Aquarius is a detached sign, and it needs to feel a sense of freedom in its relationships. And where are you not feeling the freedom in your relationships? Where is that freedom being blocked? Or is that freedom being hindered from you? You're in relationships and you feel truly limited. Because Aquarius wants to be airy, have its own ideas, go its own way, do its own thing. It's very, very rebellious. When it feels like it's boxed in, it will just conform. It's very, very fixed. Like, no, I want to go my own way. It's a fixed air sign. It's the fixed air sign. With Aquarius moons and Aquarius Venus especially, they need freedom and a lot of space in their relationship. Like Aquarius moon and Venus needs a whole lot of breathing room to do their own thing, to have the space to just be themselves and not be confined and not be told what to do exactly and have to just follow along with the commands and the rules as being the order of the day. So, what are those visions? Okay, so that's the very, very first thing. So do you feel like there's a sense of freedom in the relationships? And if you don't, how can you talk to the person or connect with the person to create more freedom and more space in those relationships? And then what are those visions and aspirations that you want? Because the 11th house corresponds to Aquarius, and the 11th house is your dreams and aspirations. So, what are those visions and things that you just really, really want to act upon? Those lofty ideas that you have in your mind. That you think like, oh, I can't manifest that. That's impossible to manifest. There's no way I can do that. Well, whatever you can, whatever you believe, you can achieve, Aquarius. As long as you are willing to work with the universe and not just let it do all the work. Because the universe works in a way where you're working with the universe and not, it's just going to give you everything. Well, you have to be the active steward, show stewardship and participation in that action of working with the universe to really, really give you, to help you get, what you want in your life. So it comes with working with spirit, working with the divine. And so, what are those, those things, where can you take action? Because, if you feel like there's not enough information to take action, then that needs to be released. Because how can you take action on your heart's desires? What are those desires that you have? Those strong desires that in your heart, because you're so connected to your head, can you drop into your heart and really, really say like, okay, I have these desires. I have these passions. I have these dreams. I have these goals. I have these visions. And I feel so strongly about it that I'm not willing to settle for them just being ideas and visions. I'm willing to implement them, in my real life. So, where can you take action on that? And finally, Aquarius can be, one of the Aquarius shadows is just the logical, detached, cold, hyper-rational, or robot type quality. It's just so cold and lacks feeling and lacks passion and lacks the real motivation for life and lacks the enthusiasm and excitement for life that Leo has, your opposite sign. Venus is in your opposite sign, so Venus will oppose you sometime. Venus will oppose your sign. Sometime during this Venus transit, it will form an opposition to your sun, moon, or rising sign. And it's going to really, really ask you this specific question. Like, are you being very, very logical and detached, or are you allowing yourself to open up your heart? Open up your heart space and open up that energy where you can be open and willing to shine. So, so that's also something that you can consider. And then finally, Pisces. You can have your dreams fulfilled, Pisces. Have your dreams fulfilled. Like an oracle card that you receive. Like, have your dreams fulfilled. So with Pisces is a sort of flowing, very, very mutable sign. It wants to sort of be quiet about it. It doesn't want to put on a big show and go out and really, really shave. And my grandma, who's a Pisces, is a stellium in that sign, said, I've heard Pisces and none of them are really too successful. I'm like, that kind of makes sense, actually, when I think about the qualities of Pisces, because often it can be so dreamy and so, spacey that it's just, what about the the Virgo aspect of it, the making the plan, the having the list, the attending to the details. So, where can you, be willing to, getting out of the dreamy quality and knowing that, yes, I'm here on this earthly plane for this amount of time in my life, and I might as well form connections. I might as well be recognized. I might as well live a meaningful life. I might as well make a contribution to the world. So I might as well be seen and recognized for it. So you don't have to keep it private. You don't have to keep this thing very, very private and very, very locked away. This dream, this vision that you have, really, really, locked away and, kept under a bushel. You can actually open up to it and do all this with opening up all this kind of thing and being very, very, very willing to show that. And not having to keep it private, because Pisces sort of is a very, very private sign. It's a water sign. Then it's about first dreaming. Like Pisces can be very, very in the dream space and the reflection space, in the soup of dreams and visions and whatever. And then once you're in that space, after that comes the manifestation. Like, okay, I'm like Pisces can be very unclear, but once you have the clarity of the dream that you want, then you can use the earth and fire energy to help you to manifest that dream. That's sort of step 2, is the manifestation, is the making it real part. And which relationships are you struggling to assert yourself in? This is really, really huge for Pisces. Pisces, you tend to not speak, not assert yourself. You're very, very passive at times. You're very, very passive aggressive because you feel drained and overwhelmed. And you can't feel like you don't have a whole lot of power. You feel like you can't compete with the person because their power is overpowering you. And that is not good for your energy, Pisces. Because you are so sensitive to others when they seem to have a lot of power. And it really, really rocks your world and makes you feel a sense of out of balance and out of equilibrium, and sort of like your ship is your boat is gonna capsize, and you feel ungrounded, and you feel unstable within yourself. So how can you choose to actively, calmly, in a strong, sovereign, authentic place, not allowing them to get the better of you, but taking a breath and being willing to respond? And if they do not still respond to your calm and grounded and sovereign approach, that's when enough is enough. You stop, you disengage, you put the effort in, Pisces, to be calm and sovereign, and they didn't accept it. Well, that's on them. That's entirely on them. That's a reflection of them and their inability to just be open-hearted and be compassionate and be understanding of your situation and what you're going through and what you need on a soul level. So detach, get away from that relationship and don't engage in that. And instead of being drained by that relationship, if it's a relationship that you love and somebody that you really, really love, like, I'm not saying just get away from it, but I'm just saying it's very, very important for Pisces during this transit of Venus in Leo to give yourself time to rest and recharge so that you are energetic, you are strong, you are stable, you are calm, you are grounded, that you will not let the waves get the better of you, that you will not let the waves steer you off course, that you will, that you will give yourself time to rest and recharge enough so that your energy doesn't get all trampled on and walked all over and squashed. So that when you rest, when you take care of yourself, you can truly be a force of strength and truly live from the inside out and not the outside in. Alright, so that is the horoscope for Pisces and really all 12 signs. For Venus in the sign of Leo, this has been an hour and 10 minutes. Pretty good. Reasonable length of time. I hope that you enjoyed this, found value out of it, and if you did, please consider sharing it to somebody who will also want to hear the 12 sign horoscopes for Venus and Leo that is open-minded towards astrology, wants a deeper version of astrology, not the house system astrology was used, where they make assumptions about you and based off of just one tiny aspect of your chart, which is most of the time inaccurate, and it doesn't resonate, because it certainly doesn't resonate with me. So I try to do that differently in this video. But anyway, I hope that you found, I hope that you found this a good use of your time and your attention to listen to, and I hope that for those who do have the attention span to see the full thing, you did hear all my interpretations, because there's a lot of value in these, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, where I will be discussing the new moon in Gemini happening on June 14th, where journaling, communicating, and writing out your own sovereign story to create your own narrative and not based off of others' narrative can really support you in that. Okay, so without further ado, bye for now, everyone. See you next time.